and I'm going to start it back up. Okay, so this is going to be a basic attribute. Okay, so let's see what it actually responds with. Okay, just a string, not very exciting. So localhost, not 4200, sorry, it's 8080, and we're looking for home. Okay, so there's your session ID. Session is new is attributes. If I go again, it's false. And why is that false? Because we actually, once we created a session ID and we got a session ID, you'll note it's a session ID is going to be the same every time. It's my connection to the server. Okay. Let's actually do a login and then we can actually see, whoop, says there's some sort of exception that occurred. Oh yeah. Yeah, this doesn't exist. I never, yeah. I didn't create the sources to make this work. So that's why it's failing. It's fine for my purposes, okay? All right, so we got the home. Let's actually do a login, okay? And you're like, wait, what? How do we do a login? Well, before we go logged in, we're going to go get mapping who is, right? And what a who is in the internet domain, you're identifying who is logged in, right? Who is logged in, right? So who is responsible for whatever. Okay, usually it's a website. Okay, so we're going to go get the session and we're going to get an attribute user. Okay, but this can be null. If it's null, no one. Else session dot get attribute user, right? We're going to store the user in there. And we're going to return their username. And yes, you have to cast it. It returns an object, so you have to cast it. Okay. Now, again, I didn't do any form of login. But now, oops, we have a who's is. Okay. Now let me show you. Because that's what we're going to do to identify who's what. That's where we're going to store things in those session attributes. So let's go back to all of these are open. Window output. There we go. And then we want to run it again. And now I have a who's this. Okay. We're going to have to get Postman open in a second as well. We'll do that in a second. I go home and you can see the session attributes new. You can see you have a different session ID and voila. Note there's no attributes. Okay, great. Let's do the same thing. Let's go localhost 8080 and go who is, right? And you can see no one's logged in because we haven't actually logged anybody in. Yay! All right, so let's have a login without a user. And you go, wait, what? I'm going to show you. We're going to have a bunch of get mappings here, and we're going to erase these later. Login fake. Public string login fake. Okay. Also going to take a session. How do we determine whether somebody's logged in? Excuse me. How do we determine somebody's logged in? By using the session attribute user. Okay. If that is null, no one's logged in. So what are we going to do? Set attribute user to be actually, yeah, we don't have a good way of doing that. I don't want to do a lookup. I can actually. Let's do it this way. Users dot, let's just get the first one. Okay. And we're going to set the user. And we're going to return just okay. Right? Right. Yay. Now comes some fun part. Okay. So now whose is, right? We still got nothing there. I'm going to take over this one. We're going to go localhost 8080. And yes, I know I have to log back in, log in fig, right? Can it be resolved? Blah, 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 blah. Okay. We're going to go ahead and start. We're going to get different IO failures because of the fact that I have that the Angular should be attached here. Um, I'm going to fix that later. Right now, I'm more focused on my little demo. Nope. Yeah, I didn't restart it, did I? Nope. I stopped it, but I didn't restart it. Some days you're the pigeon, some days you're the statue. Here we go. So you can see we logged in. Home. Hey, look at that. Session's not due. Attribute, we have a user, and the value is, hey, look at that. Now, if I wanted, I should put a source insert, oops, go ahead here, source insert toString, and we're just going to put the username and password, okay? All right. Now, I'm going to stop it one more time. I forgot to do that, so let's do that again. So first things first, we're going to go whose is, nobody's logged in, home, nothing's there. We're going to log in the fake. Now look at the home. See the attribute user, Michael, username is Michael admin. And if we go whose is, it returns Michael. Yay, we're now logged in. And you can see it's actually going across multiple requests. And that's what the session does for us. It goes across multiple requests, and very quickly we can have a user. Now, having said that, let me talk a little bit about what this is going to do. Okay. Because we have a user that has three fields, we have a username and password, so we can authenticate based on what? Based on the fact that they have knowledge of their password, right? Bang. So we can authenticate the user. We can also determine their administrative, their authorization based on the admin. But you go, wait a second. Even if they're not admin, they still only get to look at their thing. Yes, because that's application controlled. Authorization is almost always authentication and authorization are always application controlled. But that's going to be the basic premise of what we're going to do. In the next recorded thing, I'm going to stop the recording and start again. And the next one, we're going to actually go ahead and set the login. And you're like, wait, what? Yes, we're just going to set a login. We're going to keep the users in the users, and we're going to, these will all get commented out eventually, because we don't want too many things. But we're going to have the login be in the user controller, and the student controller eventually will handle the authorization. Okay. So we'll get rid of this as well. Yes. Do, 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 do. Yes. All right. So one thing I was going to point out is the student controller does not have access to the actual users. That is absolutely correct. Okay. However, we do have access to it at will. Okay. I'll talk about how we can do that if we choose to do that. Okay. We could just create a mechanism to which this guy can be, the user controller can call the other service, where the other service can call it obviously without actually using an endpoint, without exposing that endpoint. But in real terms, we would actually do this other ways. We'll talk a little bit more about that at the end of this presentation.